Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Senate chamber of the SUSP Mofnas Legislative Building. Today is February 2025, approximately 10:05 a.m. This is the Public Utilities, Transportation, and Communications Committee meeting of the Senate. And we would like to welcome the Commonwealth Utilities Corporation, the Public Utilities Commission, and the GHD team who are present, as well as any members of the general public. Before we proceed with this informational hearing, let me introduce the members of this committee. To my left, Senator Ronnie M. Cabo, who is the vice chair for the committee, and to my right, sitting on this assigned seat, is Senator Francisco Q. Cruz, representing the 2nd Senatorial District. Senator Manny Gregory Tenorio Castro, representing the 3rd Senatorial District. And to his left is the Senator Corina L. Magofnia, representing the 3rd Senatorial District. We also have Senator Donald M. Manglonia, who represents the 1st Senatorial District. Unfortunately, is not able to join us this morning. And my name is Jude Untalanov Schneider. I chair this committee, and I represent the 2nd Senatorial District of Tinian. And of course, we're joined with by the Senate President, Senator Dennis James Mendiola. Thank you, Press, for joining us. So also assisting the committee and the staff of the legislative bureaus, we have Antoinette R. Villagomez Calvo. Antoinette R. Villagomez, our legal counsel, assigned to the committee. Devin C. Macaronas, the LA legislative assistant, and assisting us, Benjamin Terlahi, the sergeant at arms, and Mr. Jonathan Diaz, the IT manager. I would also like to announce a couple of things in the interest of informational purposes and some House rules regarding code of conduct during this informational hearing. Today, the members of the Standing Committee of the PUTC are conducting an informal hearing with the presence of Commonwealth Utilities Corporation, the Public Utilities Commission, as well as the representative of GHD Group who will be appearing virtually, or if I understand it correctly, I think we have Mr. Andre Tenorio that instead will be presenting for GSD. So thank you for that. The purpose of today's informational hearing is to provide and present entities an opportunity to share relevant information with the committee as well as the general public regarding the various topics that are reflected with the committee that are reflected on today's agenda. The public will be invited to make comments. Your input is valued. However, the chair asks that you refrain from making comments that are beyond the agenda. I also ask that when we do present our comment to be respectful, no personal attacks whatsoever, and so that we can go smoothly with our order of business today. At the same time, please observe minimal noises in disrupting the hearing process, and please turn off your electronic devices to silent or vibrant mode. Thank you. So let us now begin. This informational hearing is now in session. Today is February 20, 2025, at approximately, once again, 10:07 a.m. in the morning in the Senate chamber of the Honorable SUSP Mafnas Memorial Building. At this time, I would like to ask the legislative assistant to please call the roll.
Senator Ronnie M. Calvo.
Present.
Senator Francisco Q. Cruz.
Here.
Senator Manny T. Castro.
Stiga.
Senator Jude U. Hofschneider.
Gagi.
Senator Corina L. Magofia.
Present.
Senator Donald M. Manglonia. Mr. Chairman, there are 5 members present and 1 member absent.
With 5 members present and 1 member absent, we have the necessary number to have a quorum for this meeting. Before I move to the next item, I would like to ask the Senate President, recognize Senate President.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm not going to spill too much into this hearing, but
actually just like to commend the committee for this informal meeting. I think that with everything going on in our Commonwealth, I think it's just conducive that we start having these dialogue and try and figure out solutions to try and address these issues that affects our people. So thank you for having me. I yield, Chair.
Susan Masi, Senate President, and I apologize. I also see the chairman for SIDA, Chairman Frank Rabalaman. Thank you, Chairman, and your staff for Mr. Sasamoto for joining us. At this time, I would like to recognize anyone to make the proper motion to adopt today's meeting agenda. Recognize Senator Cruz. It's been motion to adopt the agenda by Senator Cruz, seconded by Senator Magufnia. And discussion ready. All those in favor for the adoption of today's agenda, please say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Today's agenda is hereby adopted. And moving on to item 5 under public comment. This is the portion of our meeting where we allow members of the general public to offer comments with regards to today's gathering, today's hearing. We just adopted the agenda, so I respectfully ask once again and remind people that are going to offer comments to stay within the context of the agenda that we adopted today. So the floor is now open, and whoever wishes to offer testimony, please state your name for the record. Thank you.
Test. Buenos días, honorable senador, staff, dan todo e público, e man presente pa alguna organ, guahu si Juan Igor Tenorio. Ciudadanos norteamericanos. O presentado pa algo que menan mizo, Babay hufay sin hamzo con respeto. Nenajuda i publiko sa mampus man mamadedesi. Utunguhan na estina agenda iparofan madiskuti pago puro para beneficyon i publiko kalun not kimarianas luta tinian sa ipan. Oge respeta todo este iman membro di CUC board, todo i oficialis man magas di CUC board. Ho angok ko na todo hafas ti i planon niya, sinyaha man matsogwi, jaya timonya para fan beneficio i publiko. Lao, Deo faisin ko sinya man makonsidera i tau-tau ni man manapapasan este. I utility services, i silbisyon kandit hanum dan sewer. O sulit ang poko para bay adingani siya i-empleyao ni manggaji di CUC man matutoso. Bula masusesedi ni man malago na pumahungok ni man magas notimalonas taot kumuhamdo ni senador palewat dyan ni Jima Sampapa i Kongreso. Finanina, o comprenda na si debia dio panyoda salapi ani por una posible lumango sa na serbisyo para publiko. Lo, ti manhongizo na ipubliko para uwi na pasiji ni tori obligasyon niya. Benoyam jo example. Waha pogo na tempo retired person. Hanapora izun familia niya life insurance dan health insurance sa mampus makat iparao chogi obligasyon niya para guato gi CUC. Mampus na pinitisti. E dyan ni sinya wapo si CUC yang ginanapora hafa papasi life insurance and health insurance para familia niya. Sa jangi na kontinuan no, siyempre toza na niya o toza kandid niya. Talo tileleko na ufampare si ay por favor. Ay. Lo fan makonsidera fan ipubliko inirot. Sa stapogo, man mamamesina ni hopastisya na opas para service charge tutungo ko service charge ko jan mono ne per restaurant night tip sa mono za babay hanum. Segundo, apale publiko para na pasiji di binya CUC. Tileko na ti tafansono. Lo i obligasyon niya, debi di siya o kinadga. Ay ti para generat publiko, para ukadga. Hafa i obligasyon niya, CUC. Segundo, gimapos nasakkan. Dasanggil na si Joe Dispensa. Man maksa to di man maksa to di man magas sa dunia pas manapora jadi imanggagi ki papa somnak jadi man manggwagwadok hojo di para o manasiguro na machogwi ichetso ni obrigado titonya CUC. Toza haksoda. Tamani si toto man lola. Pues toza upapaisina hamzo ni man magas. Fankot besa janisti man magas CUC. Ya por favor sodai empeño. Ane sinya lokwi empleado gisang papa. Di CUC ufan man miresi za madilanta inilala niya. No na pinitisti para bay huhungog ginin empleado ni hafa masusesedi. Ati mangumplaleno unanaya amzu hafa mafoto magigizagwa. Bunti por matungo na stigilokyuno o kumitizo na tisiyo siya todo ispitat humahonozo umeekunguzo sofa sa malagozo manazuda masyagwalo ki mamadedesizo lo usasagi adumididi Masya TO be bendi za be fana pasi obligasyon be utsogun no. Lo bula gi maniluta, manyanata, famagonta ginuzun gi publiko, man manggogogo azudu, jano nato matototsungzo gi menal mizo, sama faisinzo kosinya un hono za un fangogo azudu para hita ni publiko. Enawa si Zeus Mosi dan buenos dias.
Thank you, Mr. Tenorio. The public comment portion of the meeting is still open for any other member of the general public that wishes to offer testimony. Nothing further. At this time, the public comment portion of the meeting is now closed, and we move to item 6, the informational hearing, Commonwealth Utilities Corporation (CUC). And before I proceed, I wish to respectfully ask the chair to please join us, or take your seat that is provided for you and your team and whoever else that you wish to bring forth this morning. Sarge, please assist CUC. And for everyone's information, I overlooked to mention that we are going live also for those that are unable to make it to today's meeting. So we're on cable TV channel 23. We are on Facebook, I believe, and we also are on YouTube. So just to make a note of that. So this time the chair recognizes Chair Lady Janice Tenorio for any remarks or comments that would you like to offer?
Good morning and half a day, Tito, Chair, and everyone. I would like to introduce, I'm here with the Board of Directors. They're actually back there in the gallery if you want to join us. We have, Director Muffness. We have Director Paris online, and we have Director Simon from our neighboring island of Guam, and we have Director White, and Director and CDEC Chair for Frank Roboliman. And also we have our Director for Executive Director Kevin Watson. And I believe our CFO is in the galley, right? Betty, you want to come? Miss Betty Terlahi. Okay. Thank you, Chair, for this invite. And we are also conducting we have a special board meeting out. I would like to also recognize our legal counsel, Ms. Tina No. Ms. Tina? Right there. And thank you for having us, and we will do our best in regards to answer and give, inquiries and answers in regards to the questions and concerns that this body will have, as well as the community. Once again, thank you. I will yield now to the Executive Director. Thank you.
Welcome, senators and distinguished guests. As Janice, the chair, indicated, the CUC board is here, and also the Public Works Commissioners. Some of them are here attending as the public. And I have with me some of my team. I'd like to introduce. Can you all stand up?
Mr. Watson,
Yes.
they're more than welcome to take some of the seats if you guys are more comfortable that way.
Yeah, they may not feel comfortable, but we're for some.
Who's gonna present?
Yeah, John, can you come up? And Richard, move up into the seats in front of you. And also Andre here is with GHD. He's going to give the presentation on the integrated resource plan that they are presently doing and look to finish by is it March or by March by next month. So do what? Yeah. Richard, can you stand up and introduce yourself?
I'm Richard Cano, Power Generation Manager.
And I'm John Moffness, I'm the Contracting Administrator.
Good morning, Ivana Gomera, Renewable Energy Engineer.
And next to her is Betty Delahi, our CFO. Okay. Okay, can introduce yourself?
Hi, good morning. Andre Tenorio with GHD.
You back? Okay, so basically, again, thank you for joining us today in this very important meeting. This is an informational hearing. Basically, it's informational gathering for the members of PUTC of the Senate and also for great information for the general public, basically on the context of the order of business today. So the way that we're gonna proceed with this is that for every item that is being discussed, let's say, for example, item 1, I understand Mr. Tenor will be taking the lead, and once he's done, we're gonna take ask the members or recognize any member of the body to pose their question, and then once that one is finished, then we go on to item number 2 and so forth. Again, welcome to the Senate. We really appreciate this FaceTime that we have. We're both doing our responsibilities, as members of the legislature, and of course you as the utilities. And I'll be remiss if I don't express my appreciation on behalf of the president and again the committee and the entire general public, basically, for having the lights on and having the water and the sewer and the like. So I want to remind the general public that despite the challenges that we're having, we're very grateful that you are doing your best to keep the lights on and the water and any other services that you guys do. So with that, I would like to proceed on with item 1, matters regarding the Integrated Resources Plan, in short, IRP. And at this time, the chair recognizes Mr. Andre Tenorio from GHD.
Okay, thank you, Chair. So I'm going to be presenting, it's actually the third time we're presenting the Integrated Resource Plan. The first presentation was our workshop with some of our key stakeholders. Second was with the board, and now with the Senate. So next slide, please. Here's the workshop agenda, basically discussing the Integrated Resource Plan, the demand forecast, energy options assessment, system impact studies, financial analysis, SCADA staffing and skill set assessment, summary of future works, and then we'll have some time for Q&A. Next slide, please. So the Integrated Resource Plan, the most recent iteration of the Integrated Resource Plan was in 2016. That was a CUC IRP, 2016 CUC IRP. And we're essentially providing an update. And really the main goal is to try to achieve or create a plan to achieve 40% renewable penetration for the CNMI. And kind of aligned with this plan, we've also developed the strategic energy plan that was actually for the Office of Grants Management and the DPW Energy Division. We developed that, and then also basically taking really the main goal of the IRP update is to achieve 40% renewables. So that's kind of what I'm presenting now. So next slide, please. Next slide is the demand forecast, and this was probably the first stage of our project or of the plan. Next slide, please. Okay, so key inputs for modeling a 20-year demand forecast. We looked at the individual island population and projected growth rates. Also looking at individual sectors, commercial, residential, and government growth. Getting a list of expected projects from the CUC. That was also incorporated into our plan. And then we also considered electric vehicle uptake, right? So you look at our base case, has standard growth and a little bit of electric vehicles. Our low case is just not as aggressive of a growth, little or limited electric vehicles. And then our high case is aggressive growth and electric vehicle considerations. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is our demand forecast for Saipan. We show our low case, high case, and our base case. Again, right, these are based on projects and anticipated projects to come online. I don't have them listed, but they include new developments and then also taking into account some of the hotels, bringing them online with CUC. Each jump is essentially a project that's coming or a series of projects that are coming in online that year. And then also with the population growth and then also electric vehicle uptake. So if you look at the numbers, right, high case by 2044 is around 68 megawatts. Base case is around 60 megawatts, and the low case is right around 43 megawatts. Next slide, please. And then a similar trend with Saipan. We considered the projects that are coming online, and our high case is around 12 megawatts. Base case is around 8 megawatts, and then around 3 megawatts is our low case. We included as much as we know up to date or as much information that we provided. We do understand that there's a large-scale data center project that's going to be online on Tinian, but due to the information and uncertain nature of the size, and I think there's also non-disclosure acts or agreements that were in place, we weren't able to get as much information, so that large-scale data center is not included as part of our plan. Next slide, please. Rhoda, I do not believe we had any future projects online at the time that we got the information in 2023, but mainly it's just population growth, right, and electric vehicle uptake. So having aggressive for the base case is getting us around 1.9 megawatts. I'm sorry, the high case is 1.9 megawatts. Base case is around 1.8, and then low case is around 1.79, I would say. Next slide, please. Next slide. As I mentioned, we did look at, this is our energy supply options, and we prepared the strategic energy plan in 2022 and essentially looked at different options or different technology options. You have gas, business as usual, which is on island, right? Diesel power, hydroelectric, geothermal, solar, offshore wind, onshore wind, biofuels, lithium-ion storage, and pumped hydro storage. And then what I'll touch base is, so lithium-ion storage, it's going to be referred to on the presentation as BESS. So battery energy storage systems. So it's BESS. Next slide, please. Okay, energy supply options, technology screening. So this is the screening criteria. We looked at the viable local resource, cost competitiveness, the technology maturity. How developed is the technology and can we use it? Safety, reliability, and then reputational and policy and legal. Okay, next slide, please. So here's our traffic light assessment, right? Red, yellow, and green. Screening for the different options that we looked at. Red marked options were deemed not viable for the islands and were kind of eliminated from consideration. Existing, and this is assuming that the existing diesel stays online, right? Because that's what we have here on the islands. But what stands out, right, is you have large-scale solar PV and large-scale battery BESS, right? So that's had green marks across the board, and that's really what we considered here as part of the IRP. Next slide, please. Pre-feasibility study. Next slide. Location-specific inputs. Again, this is getting into developing our TEM model, which is our techno-economic model. We kind of share what types of software we use. We use Homer and PV Assist. So what we do is we take all of that data, the cost data, and this cost data, right? It's looking at specific costs for labor, shipping and imports to the islands, and we use whatever was available. For PV and BESS, right? Photovoltaics, that's solar, and BESS for the U.S. and internal Australian database. Again, looking at our solar yield, how much energy that these solar panels can collect, that are site specific, and then demand growth as mentioned earlier. Next slide, please. Okay, so what we did was we took a scorecard approach, which was a multi-criteria analysis, an MCA approach. This was actually our second workshop with the CUC, where we met with CUC management, accounting, finance staff, power generation, and transmission and distribution to get an idea of what means most to them and how we can weigh their the criteria, right? So we looked at some of their key drivers in particular, right, were drivers for change, improve reliability, and items that were economical. So this pie chart's basically how we performed our feasibility analysis and looked at this, the different options. Next slide, please. So options assessed. We looked at business as usual, which was our business as usual is our diesel generators that are providing power currently. We looked at solar only, and then we looked at solar and battery energy storage systems. Next slide. And from our techno-economic model, which is aimed at providing or looking at the optimized renewable energy penetration, and for site that is to get us to the 40% penetration. For Tinian, megawatts of solar and 8 megawatts of, and then for Rhoda, we have 3 megawatts of solar and 2 megawatts of BESS. And Rhoda's, there's an asterisk there. I think at least at the time and discussions with DPL and CUC, the land that we were looking at was kind of constrained to a certain size. So 3 megawatts is what we could get out of Rhoda at the time. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so for potential locations, what we did was we looked for available public land, elevation of potential sites, and then that they're close to the network. Ideally, what we want to do is, at least for Saipan, is we would want to put the solar farm adjacent to the power plant, right? A large-scale solar farm. If we can't do that, the best option is to spread it around different feeders. And that's essentially what we did. And you can see it's color coded on the networks on the right side, kind of illustrating the different feeders. So next slide, please. So for Saipan, there was 4 sites that were considered. We have Esgono, Naftan, Calabera, and Tapochao. So those were the 4 sites that were initially considered. And with Esgono and Naftan being the first to get us to that 40% penetration by 2030. Next slide, please. Findings and potential locations for Tinian. Again, right, some of these locations were vetted previously with CUC and DPL, and we have Marple Heights located as one of the options, or at least the only option that we had for Tinian. Next slide, please. For Rhoda, it was I think it was showing up on Google Earth as Ichenson, but I think it's As Nieves. Again, what we were looking for was a lot size slightly greater than this. For Rhoda, renewable energies were not able to hit 40% by 2030 with this size. But I think there's other lots that may be considered, and we're still working with DPL to identify those other ones. And during our last workshop with some of the stakeholders, there's also discussions for private land. But again, our goal or our aim here is to look for public land that could accommodate this. And there's 2 load centers, right, for Rhoda. You have essentially one in Song Song down below, and then Sinapalo up top. Okay, next slide. So pre-feasibility studies. So potential staging. So for Tinian and Rhoda, relatively simple. So you can basically go through the phases that we have. So phase 1 is present to 2023, business as usual during project development. Phase 2 is in 2023. And then we have optimal generation mix for islands online. That's getting our renewable penetration right around 40%. And then phase 3 is optimal generation mix online as demand grows, and you can increase. So this is our staging approach, right? For 2025, we would have a 20 megawatt PV and 15 megawatt BESS online by 2025, and then we would need to get up right around 2030. Another solar, 40 megawatts of solar and 33 megawatts of BESS online. And then that would get us to the 40% goal. And I think there's still room for growth, right, as we move forward. But that's the staged approach. So initial stage is 20 megawatts in 2025, right? 20 megawatts of solar and BESS. 20 megawatts of solar, 50 megawatts of BESS. And then 2030, we have the 40 megawatts solar, 33 megawatts of BESS. Next slide, please. System impact studies. So system impact studies essentially was taking the power system modeling that CUC has and taking in these new generators, right? These solar farms and BESS, putting them into the grid and seeing how the system behaves, what improvements we need, any upgrades as necessary. And I think at the time when we started the project, we only had a power system model for Saipan and for Rhoda. So as part of our project, we also developed one for Tinian.